Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian, and I play Hektor the Gatekeeper.
Hi, I'm Beth, and I play Rilla Longshadow.
Hey there, I'm Alex, and I play Ruger Firehide.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker. Michael Parker playing the druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. We are joined, dear listeners, once again for a tale of epic fantasy. Our hero's about to get into some vor. And I could not be more excited. I
don't like the choice you're making there, that it's vor specifically, because doesn't that mean that we're like sexually into being eaten by this worm?
Now you're gonna make my mother Google that. You know that,
you're
right?
You're making like a character decision for me that I don't really accept, you know?
You're not the one being eaten.
Oh, I'm excited to get 8. You better believe.
I mean, two things. First,
Only 2.
vor is for the viewer, not for the person being eaten. Second, don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. So
actually, that makes it more about it being Rilla and Zurabak. We are the people who are watching it.
Yes.
So yes, I stand by my point then. Thank you.
But that doesn't mean that you are forced to want to see it or like it.
But she's going to be very
obviously,
excited.
I was described. Okay.
Obviously, I should not have mentioned vor, and that's my mistake. All you DMs out there, just don't bring up whatever kink you're happen to be getting into, because it makes people uncomfortable. It's just a lesson. I'm still learning. Been doing this for 20 years. I just learned something. So thanks for that. But
I'm just Rilla and Zurabak observing it is kind of what does it for me.
Yeah. I'm into that. It's weird, but I'm into that.
With all that being said, when last we left our heroes, Hektor, Rilla, Zurabak, and the lawman Ruger Firehide
That's me.
found themselves in the Shatterbark Wood, an expanse of frozen tundra and towering pine trees, where the weather gets so cold that the sap inside these trees freezes and the towering pines erupt in giant explosions of splintering wood. They are here in the Shatterbark Wood, tracking down the skull of a giant, the next piece of the spell they need to cast in order to end the Glyph Purge and fix all of reality. Having been denied the opportunity to get one at Giant's Rest, Hektor's home, our heroes were forced to pursue a line of inquiry which involved tracking down the oldest living creature on the Isle of Meotia, Kesk, the ancient great worm dragon, who they previously encountered, ate a little bit of, and then banished to this frosty climate. After securing an offering from the College of Everspring and being transported to the Shatterbark Wood by their old friend Gator, Ruger Firehide bravely sought to get information from Kesk as to where they could find the remains of a giant, and Kesk had a job for Ruger. Apparently, Kesk the Wingless, the great dragon, has found himself trapped in the Shatterbark Wood, being plagued by incredibly powerful creatures known as frost worms that were penning him in and keeping him trapped in this snowy landscape. One particular frostworm, the brood mother, has been changed by the unique soil of the Shatterbark Wood, which has been seeded with metal from fallen stars thousands of years ago. According to Kesk's telling, this great frostworm, the Broodmother, has adamantine metal, one of the hardest substances in all of Meosha, plating its scaly hide and has made it nearly immune to magic and physical damage. And so, our heroes have been tasked with taking an ancient construct and entering the worm that they might destroy it from the inside out. When last we left our heroes, they were just leaving a subterranean base left behind by an expedition of giants in ages long past. The stricken, Ruger, and Hektor were inside this gigantic crab mech known as an apparatus of Qualish, while Rilla and Zurabak decided to stay outside. And we join our heroes now as this enormous contraption of metal and cogs creaks and grinds and shudders its way up the rubble slope out of the subterranean base onto the snow-covered floor of the Shatterbark Woods around you. Inside its large compartment, seated on a bench in front of a dizzying array of levers, we find Hektor, Ruger, and the Stricken. Just outside are Rilla and Zurabak, and of course Snake and Rutherford. The Stricken is sitting in this seat, looking at this array of levers, just sort of wildly pulling on them to make this giant mech shudder forward, and looks at you, Hektor and Ruger, and says, "Well, this is certainly going to be unpleasant. I fear that if this broodmother Kesk described is as terrible as his account states, we may be hard-pressed to inflict any damage on it, even if we do get inside the thing. What do you two think?"
Well, I think Protos led us here for a reason, and I don't believe that reason is to get eaten by a giant worm and die because of it. So I figure we'll figure it out along the way.
I think that I was the first one to say, "Hey, let's think it through for a second and see if there are any alternatives." And somehow I'm in here and there, and I think that's bullshit. That's my thoughts
Well,
on the subject. But I guess let's go get eaten, huh?
yeah. Maybe that dragon y'all really pissed off might help us, might really just save the day, right? That's what we're counting on.
Well, it would seem that Kesk intends for us to head out onto the ice, and he'll act as a distraction while we get devoured by this creature. Hopefully, if we can do enough damage internally, Kesk will be able to slay it on the outside. Though, I shudder to think what we'll find in so great and terrible a creature. In any event, I think I've gotten the hang of how to operate this massive contraption. And the Stricken informs you all of what all of these levers do. I have, for the listeners at home, just so you know, I have shared a list in our group chat of what all of the 10 levers inside this creature does. Basically, every lever does one kind of simple thing: extend or retract the legs, move forward or backward, turn left or right, snap the pincers, so on and so forth. And I've shared that with you all so you know what all these do. Basically, the way this works is you can pull one lever as a full round action, and the construct will act in accordance with that. And since there's 3 of you in there right now, basically you can do 3 things with this mech on a turn if you all do that. Now, Rilla and Zurabak, you're standing next to this giant fucking crab construct as your companions are about to head out onto the ice fields. Zurabak, you had said explicitly you are not going inside this worm. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Not my thing.
Zurabak eats. He does not get eaten. And Rilla, you are not down with the sickness as well, right? You were...
I resented the attempt at
Diplomacy?
at a come to narrativa moment. I'm trying to come up with the correct in-game sort of, you know what I mean? Like, it was like walking into
An episode of
a
Mari.
surprise
Intervention.
an intervention. Yeah, I was like walking into an intervention, which really does resent. However, the fact is that the only person out here is Zurabak, and also a dragon that does hate us, means I will likely be getting back in that crab. Can I hear Hektor talking shit on me? Are there windows in this thing?
I don't think anyone was talking... there...
When he said that he was the one who was yelled at for not wanting to go support his friends, but he's the only one in here, like that. Could Rilla hear that?
I'd say no. You can't hear. Sound does not pass through this thing. Certainly not just a casual discussion. And yeah, for anyone that's a little rusty because the last episode came out 2 weeks ago. Yeah. One thing I left out of the synopsis is that, Ruger Firehigh did try to quell the anger, the justified anger Rilla's feeling toward Hektor after his fumbling at Giant's Rest.
Just like a man to try to fix things, right? Right?
But so Rilla, you're having a change of heart. You think you want to get in this giant mech?
From a strategy moment, once Rilla like cools down, yeah, like this doesn't make sense. I'm very squishy. So I will be getting back in, but I don't want to. I'm debating like climbing on top of this thing for now and then sliding in the door when like we get inside of the worm. You know, like just to get some quiet.
What a teenager.
If you want to ride on the outside of the metal construct, you are more than welcome. We'll see how that relates to.
Can I cast a spider climb? To do that? Would that help?
You absolutely may. Rilla Longshadow pulls upon the sorceress power in her blood. And, your hands and feet become tactile like a spider. And, you're able to scurry up on top of this crab mech.
Y'all hear a thump from inside, I assume. As I sit down on top of it loudly.
I look up at the ceiling and then at my companions confusedly. You don't think Snake would try and eat this thing, do you?
Yes. But only if Zurabak was also trying to eat it, which he might. Let's not think about that right now. Let's just go to the worm.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, by all means, protagonists, let us venture forth. The helm is yours.
I immediately pull the wrong lever. I go backwards when I meant to go forwards.
Yeah, you
Rilla
pull a lever.
sighs deeply on top of the bug. Or the crab, excuse me.
Yeah, Ruger, you hammer on one of these levers and this mech like shudders back 20 feet and like smashes into a tree, which explodes with a shower of splinters. But you quickly get the hang of it, pull the proper lever, and on 6 shuddering metal legs, this giant iron barrel with eye stalks and pincers starts to clamber its way forward, weaving between these towering pines and making it out into the open tundra where this frost worm awaits. Zurabak, what are you doing while your companions are heading out there?
Waving goodbye.
Okay. Are you staying in the tree line or
Yeah.
heading out into the... Okay. So as you hang out protected by these towering conifers. The rest of your party heads out into the open tundra. You are looking at a broad expanse of flat land with driving Arctic winds shearing across, and there is a blizzard rolling in. Giant storm clouds precede huge swirling gales of giant snowflakes that start to limit your vision as you make your way out into the tundra. Obviously, the three of you inside of this giant mech aren't really affected by this. The visibility's poor, but the wind and snow aren't really hitting you. Really, you're having a bad time. The second you get out of the tree line, your cloak and winter clothes are fluttering out behind you, and this scouring wind and driving snow is kind of beating against you. But as you wander out onto the tundra, visibility gets to be absolute garbage. You can barely see like 20 feet in front of you, and it starts to get into whiteout conditions as this wall of snow sweeps in, and it gets hard to tell the ground from the sky. Everything's kind of just this swirling cloud of white. A few minutes after you clamber your way out there, completely disappearing from Zurabak's view, you hear a loud and powerful roar that nearly deafens you, Rilla, as you're on the outside of this mech. And you barely see the shadowy silhouette of what can only be Kesk the Wingless, this great worm dragon, as large as a building, with this sinuous neck leading into a head as large as a wagon, and its mouth is open wide, and he is roaring with every scrap of air in his lungs, and this roar can be heard even over the driving wind, and it echoes out over the tundra as Kesk says, "I am here, you infernal beast! I, Kesk, last of the true dragons, call you to your end!"
Yeah, I go inside at that point, because I can't let this dragon see me, right?
Yeah, you get a thrill of horrific fear that washes over you at the thought of this thing actually seeing you. And yeah, you hammer on the door, and the stricken heaves on one of these levers, opening the porthole, and you slide right in there. Stricken says, "Ah, Rilla, you've decided to join us on this suicide mission after all."
I don't talk. I just go to like the seat in the back and kind of like throw my hood over my head and like pull my knees up to my chest and sit there.
Understood. So it is not but a few moments before the ground underneath your mech starts to shake, and there is a loud cracking sound, like ice being shattered on an unimaginable scale, and spiderweb cracks start to shoot through the frozen ground beneath the feet of your mech, as an enormous mound is carved through the ice directly at you. Kesk is at your back, and this wall of rippling, cracking ice is in front of you. And as this beast approaches, Kesk says, "Remember, tiny knight, get inside of the creature and do as much damage as you can. Do this, and the information you seek will be yours. Come at me, beast!"
Is it too late to go back to the drawing board, think of other ideas?
As these words leave your mouth, the icy ground before your construct erupts in a fountain of dirt and ice, and a creature rises from the earth and rises and rises and rises. It shoots into the sky some 30 feet across, just 50 feet tall, this sleek, silvery worm body that shines. You can see all of its scales are streaked with this gleaming metal that stands strong against the driving wind, snow, and ice that is now assailing you. And as you take the construct's eye stalks, sort of tilt them up, you see the head of this frost worm, the brood mother. It has an almost skull-like face, a huge mouth lined with sharp teeth, and enormous mandibles covered in these metallic scales and also lined with rows of teeth. They flex outward and snap shut like a guillotine that could cut a fortress in half. There is a strange central eye that seems to be its only sensory organ high up on its head, and from its mouth it emits this horrific trilling noise, this high-pitched reverberating cry that makes the metal of your construct, this mech you're in, like shake. You all feel this trilling cry like deep in your chest. It penetrates even the metal carapace of the vehicle you're in. I need everyone to roll me a will saving throw.
May I ask what type of effect it is?
This is a... no, this is a...
And do you also want Zurabak to roll it?
No, you're far enough away. Ooh, actually... Yeah, no, you're close enough. Yeah, Zurabak roll it too. Yeah, everyone roll me a will save. It's a stun effect. It's a sonic stunning effect.
Is it poison, fey, or immune to poison?
No.
What if I ain't got ears?
You have better ears than anyone, if anything.
I'm
with
talking
your
about
keen-eared...
Snake.
Snake has ears.
Nah.
He could smell the sonic waves.
Whatever get on their will saves.
13, unfortunately. Low roll for me.
Okay.
23.
Damn, nice.
17.
Okay. Zurabak, what'd you get?
Math. 31 for Zurabak.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck did Snake's stats go? So, 8.
Excellent. So, Ruger and Snake have failed this saving throw, and so Ruger and Snake are both stunned for as long as the worm makes this noise. Even if you're attacked, you're still stunned, but if you're attacked or violently shaken, you can get another saving throw. But yeah, you're basically stunned for as long as this creature makes this noise. You'll get another saving throw if something jostles you. But yeah, so this enormous creature, this gigantic worm, has to be at least 100 feet long, 30 feet across, with these giant bladed mandibles, lets out this horrific trilling cry, which shudders your mech and just stupefies Ruger. He's sitting in this bench in front of the levers, and he is just stunned completely. Snake sort of flips over and writhes and is unable to move or do anything. And then the creature comes down, its enormous form sinuously snaking back towards the ground, and it looks like a train is falling directly on your mech, and you are all completely engulfed as this gigantic maw snaps you up as the thing keeps falling and burrows into the ground. Your mech is completely engulfed by this frost worm, and the broodmother continues down into the earth, burrowing. So you are forced into this thing's mouth against a wall of dirt and ice that just jams you down its gullet, and you are all violently shaken from the turbulence of this experience.
Hector says,
So, so yeah, everything is dark for a moment as you're all just tossed around the inside of this mech, shuddering as it is forced down the gullet of this enormous worm. And Ruger, you're jostled enough. I'm going to let you get another will save.
23.
Excellent. You are able to resist as you're being smashed around the inside of this mech. I need everyone to roll me some reflex saving throws as you're being bounced around this cabin to avoid taking some damage.
Can I do that, or am I still just waking up from being stunned?
No, yeah, you're fine.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. I am fine. 28.
Nice.
I also got a 28 because I rolled a nat 20.
Damn.
holy shit, I just also rolled a nat 20.
Damn!
Holy shit. Yes.
That's a 29 total for me.
So the three protagonists, you all bounce around a little bit inside this mech as it's violently being devoured by this frost worm, the broodmother. But you are able to, through grace and determination, sort of grab handholds where you find it, pin yourself against the benches and the levers, and sort of brace yourself as the worst of this violent shaking is done. And after a few moments, you are relatively still. The inside of your cockpit stops violently shaking, and you're able to stand up and take a moment to get your bearings. It is pitch black outside of the two small round windows of your craft, and the thick glass view screen on the other side of these levers is dark as well. The stricken says, "That was incredibly unpleasant. Is everyone all right?"
Yep.
Define all right.
Everything's going exactly to plan. Exactly to plan.
That's the problem.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but if the gods are with us, we're in the broodmother's gullet. Ugh. And he shudders.
Which one's the light? Hector starts reaching around at levers, doesn't pull one. He's just gesturing at them.
The stricken says, "I believe it's this one." And he pulls a lever, and there are two eye stalks in the front of the barrel-shaped chassis of this giant crab mech you're in. And he pulls a lever, and both these eye stalks shoot up, and covers retract over them. And there are two magical flames, one in each of these eye stalks, that shed light before you. And suddenly the thick glass view screen on the other side of these levers displays a scene, and it is fucking unpleasant. You are in basically a tunnel. You are sort of wedged in a pile of ice, rocks, and dirt that is sort of compacted, and the inside of this tunnel is unpleasantly red. You can see some vasculature and some musculature in here, and the wet red walls of this tunnel you're in have these streaks of this gleaming silvery metal all throughout them, almost like veins in a mine that seem to shoot in every direction. The lights from your eye stalks shoot forward and display this horrific scene. And the only path before you seems to be further into the beast.
I confidently pull the lever to go forward.
Excellent. You, Ruger, you stand up and heave on this lever, and there's a bit of resistance at first as this giant mech shudders, the legs struggling against all the dirt and rock that you're kind of crammed in here with, but eventually your mech is able to shake itself free and starts scrabbling forward on its 6 metal legs, farther down into the depths of this horrific organic cavern that you all find yourselves in. Real quick, Zurabak, you are blessedly outside. You are on the edge of the tree line, this towering stand of pines that Kesk was using sort of as cover from these terrible worms. And the blizzard is going full force now. Visibility is bad, but the creatures involved in this scuffle are so fucking large and so loud, and your hearing is so good that you are able to actually get a pretty good fucking idea of what's going on. Why don't, for fun, you roll me a listen check?
I rolled a 17. That's not my character sheet. Plus L for listen, 23. Plus 23.
17 plus 23, so that's 40. So you got a 40 on your listen check. Zurabak, you close your fucking eyes. You just close your eyes and you hear over the roaring wind of this blizzard, over the creaking and the occasional explosion of the pine trees around you, you hear a titanic battle between 2 impossibly large creatures. From what you can hear, your crazy druidic echolocation, you can tell that the Broodmother's here and it's fucking enormous. It showed up, burst out of the soil, devoured your friends easily, no problem, and then burrowed back underground, only to pop up and do battle with Kesk the Wingless. Kesk, for his part, is grappling with this giant worm, snaking his head out of the way of its giant metal-covered mandibles, and trying desperately to pin it down, control its movement, using his massive claws and massive fangs to try to fend this thing off. They are kicking up giant clouds of dirt and ice as they slam each other on the ground, jockeying for position, writhing around each other with their sinuous forms. And Kesk, even with his great power, definitely seems to be barely holding his own. You hear the sound of his claws raking against the metallic scales of this creature, and they are not finding any purchase. It seems like he can barely keep himself safe. But you also hear, with your impossible senses, that there are 2 other creatures, smaller than the Broodmother, but 2 other creatures burrowing through the earth on the way to this fracas. They seem to be making a beeline towards Kesk. What do you do?
Now we standing on ground, like dirt and shit, or is it like rock all the way down?
It is ice, then dirt, then rock.
All right. I'm going to assume they've been burrowing through the rock more then? Or are they burrowing through the dirt part?
They're burrowing through the ice and dirt.
Okay. Where'd that spell go?
This isn't good. Everyone knows when Parker takes this long, it's never good.
Yep.
Oh, I win the game. Fuck you. It's like, okay, well, never mind.
Can I pinpoint-ish where the new ones are burrowing through? Like, about where they're at?
Parker, with your listen check, you could pinpoint where Lore Master Holland is in fucking Everspring. Yes, you know exactly where these worms are burrowing.
Then I'm gonna do soften earth and stone and turn it all to mud.
Interesting. That sounds fun. So you channel your druidic magics, calling upon the power of the green to soften up some earth and mud.
It's a reflex save or be caught for 1d2 rounds, unable to move, attack, or cast spells.
Very cool.
If it succeeds on the save, they move at half speed but can't run or charge.
Nice. Excellent counterattack. Yeah. So yeah, you cast out your great powers and you churn up the ice and dirt and turn this into a soft fucking pit of quicksand to catch these worms up. Let's see what they get on their saving throws.
The save is not hard. It is a solid 15.
Okay, well they are big boys. You said it's a reflex save?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they rolled a 3 and a 4, because of course they did. Excellent. So yeah, you reach out a hand, and as these burrowing worms come rushing forward to assist the broodmother, the soil they are burrowing through turns into soup, and they find themselves stuck fast, trying desperately to move through it, and getting stuck. Nicely done.
I guess I should roll a 1d2. See how long they're stuck.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rolled a 1, so 1 round.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, they're unable to move or attack or cast spells. Hell yeah. And even if it gets its save, it moves at half speed and can't run or charge. Fuck yeah. Excellent. So yeah, you, with your druidic powers, are able to churn up this ground and make it into basically quicksand, and the two burrowing worms are just completely halted by this sticky miasma of clinging mud that you create. And yeah, they are stuck fast. Nicely done. You have kept this fight fair so far. Cut to inside the worm.
You know, if I had a silver for every time I got incidentally involved in a fight between Kesk and another gigantic creature, which involved moving through a long tunnel while in the shape of an aquatic creature, I would have 2 silver. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
That is actually extremely weird now that you mention it.
I mean, I was going to say the same thing, but I didn't think it bared mentioning. Anyway.
Well, Ruger wasn't
Yeah.
there, so, we were fish. I don't know if we ever told you that part. We were fish for part of that one.
Well, sort of. We're crabs right now.
Right,
One.
yeah.
Yeah.
More like one big crab, but yeah, it's about right.
Yep.
As you all are chatting, your enormous mech moves ever onward, deeper into the gullet of this enormous frost worm. And you see a little more of the same. These, basically a giant fucking tunnel that is made of meat with these striations of shiny silver metal. You get about 20 feet farther down this thing, and the fight going on outside starts to impact your travels as suddenly the floor becomes the ceiling. Your mech is flipped as the entire tunnel you're in twists after a particularly devastating throw from Kesk, and your mech falls upside down, slamming into what was the ceiling of this tunnel. You are now turtling on your back in this giant construct, and I need everyone to roll me a reflex saving throw to avoid some fall damage as you slam against the uncushioned innards of this mech.
I rolled a critical 1 for a total of
Ouch.
13.
25.
22.
Damn. All right, Ruger.
Yep. The paladin
you
just
are gonna
keeps failing the saving throws. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen. All right, Ruger, you're going to take 7 points of damage as you slam like head first onto the roof of your construct. This giant golem, not golem, mech. Fuck, I'm gonna have to cut that word out so many times. So yeah, you get your bell rung a little bit. Rilla and Hektor, you're able to get a nice superhero 3-point landing as you get to the roof. But yeah.
Sorry.
They really should install seatbelts.
Oh, you're telling me. Like, crack my neck.
And as your mech is upside down, you see from the light shining from the eye stalks of this mech a couple of forms slithering up this tunnel. They are bone white with sharp, snipping mandibles and have strange eyes on the tops of their heads and are calling out this terrible trilling sound. You see 2 smaller worms rushing forward towards your
Golem.
construct here. Golem. Fuck. Towards your mech. The words are hard. Fuck. You see 2 smaller worms. They look like baby versions of the brood mother you're currently inside, and they are rushing up the body of their sainted mother to assail you. Let's go ahead and roll initiative.
Jesus. Rolling nothing but hot garbage this evening. 8.
I also got an 8.
My initiative
My
modifiers.
dexterity.
3.
Mine is also a 3.
Roll off.
I got a 14.
9.
10.
Ah!
Zurabak got a 9.
Oh, Zurabak,
Snake got a 14. I rolled them, damn it.
I'm in this.
you're not in this scene, Zurabak. You got your own shit going on out there. Don't you worry your pretty little head. All right, we roll for the bad guys, and they got that number. Okay. All right. So, Hektor, you are the first to react. You are standing in your now upside down mech inside the broodmother. 2 of its babies are surging forward to accost your mech here. What would you like to do?
Approximately how far away from us are they?
They're about 30 feet away from you.
Okay. Question. Do they appear to have eyes? Do they see?
They each have 1 eyeball on the top of their head.
I'm gonna cast Minor Image.
Interesting. Okay. You're going to pull upon your bardic illusion powers. What do you do?
I'm gonna cast Minor Image, and I'm going to what should I make it? I make a little Sebastian appear behind them, and I have him just shouting, "Please, please don't eat me specifically! Behind you here!" And that's what I do.
Excellent. So Hektor the Gatekeeper pulls upon his bardic training received at the Bard's College of Everspring. And you weave shadow and arcane energy into an illusion, and you make a perfect illusory copy of Sebastian. A tiny gnome with a crooked nose, a shock of white hair, and bright blue eyes, right behind these two worms. And yeah, it mews loudly, "No, please!" And these worms both stop charging towards you. It is the worms' turn. They are going to both turn around and start snapping at this illusory Sebastian that you have crafted. Obviously, because it's an illusion, their mandibles are going to go right through it, but let's see if they're too dumb to figure it out. What is the saving throw against your spells?
It would be Will 13.
Okay, what's their will save like?
Or wait, no, it's 14. I'm sorry, but
14? Okay. One of them snaps their mandibles through this illusion and sort of shakes its head and then turns back towards you. The other one just keeps fucking assailing this thing. It can't seem to grasp that it's not real, and it keeps snapping its mandibles at this illusory Sebastian. So you've got one of them full-on tricked. They both waste their turns attacking this thing. It seems like one of them has seen through it, but the other one is still convinced. Nicely done. That's going to bring it to Rilla. Rilla, it's your turn.
I'm not really sure what I want to do, honestly.
You are currently safely inside your giant crab mech. But yeah, there's two monsters about 30 feet away from y'all. You're upside down. Yeah. What do you got?
I mean, our goal is to continue. Is it to continue into this thing further? Is that what we're doing right now?
Yeah, your goal is to destroy this thing from the inside out. It seems like you're still in its gullet. So yeah, getting deeper would probably be the best way to find a vulnerable spot. The walls in this tunnel you're in are still like streaked with this super hard metal. So it seems like you wouldn't be able to do too much damage where you're at right now.
All right, I want to use my turn then to just move this thing forward. Pulling that lever.
Yeah. So you're currently upside down, but you rush forward and pull on one of these levers, throwing your body weight behind this ancient construction, and it pulls and snaps into place, and the legs of your construct retract. And as they do, the sort of barrel-shaped chassis rolls over and is now right side up. That is what you can do with your turn.
Okay, cool.
You have righted the construct. Nicely done. Ruger Firehide, that makes it your turn.
I definitely want to attack a worm with a lever. I want to get it with a pincer if I can.
Sure. Yeah. We'll say that the stricken, who's just hanging out, is going to use his turn to shuffle y'all forward a little bit. And yeah, you get into attack range of one of these fucking worms as your mech lurches forward on its 6 legs. And if you want to pull a lever to hit one of these things with a fucking pincer, go for it.
I yank a lever. I rolled a 12 on a 20-sided dice, but I don't know if I'm supposed to add anything to that.
Yeah, so I put the stats for this thing in our group chat here. It's got plus 12 to attack.
I see now. So yeah, that would be a 24 then.
Excellent. And it's got 2 pincers. I think one pull snaps both of them. So yeah, roll again.
Ooh. 27.
Those are both hits. As your crab mech lurches forward, Ruger, you pull on the lever, and 2 of these large metal claws mercilessly snap forward with industrial indifference, and just snap this fucking worm. Roll damage. Each one of them does 2d8 damage.
All right, wow. So the first one was 14. Almost matched.
Holy shit.
8 and a 6. And then 8 on the next one, 7 and 1. So 14 and 8. So 22.
Hell yeah. These worms are much, much smaller than the brood mother you're currently inside of. And they don't seem to be anywhere near as powerful. So yeah, with this snap of the pincers, you cut this worm right in fucking half. The metal pincers of your crab mech just snap shut, and you split this thing. And yeah, it falls to the ground, halved completely. Nicely done.
I yell out, yeehaw.
You scream a victorious yeehaw as your construct snaps this thing in half. But as soon as it falls, as soon as both halves hit the ground, this thing's body covers instantly with a sheet of ice, and then it explodes. It erupts. The entire tunnel you're in is caught in this blast, including your mech, as the corpse of this tiny ice worm just explodes in razor-sharp shards of ice. And let's see. Your construct is going to take 30 points of damage.
Ouch.
As this thing explodes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. The explosion coats everything with these shards of ice that rip outward. The explosion actually catches the other frost worm in it, and that one dies as well. And the second it dies, its body is covered with a sheet of ice, and then it too explodes. And does 20 points of damage.
Yikes.
To your mech. I hope one of you is keeping track of mech health. Mech.
I'm not. Is someone else?
That was 30 and then 20?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the stats for it in the chat. Your mech has 200 health points.
And a hardness of 15, though. So it took...
That is correct.
15 and 5 is what it took, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Nicely done. So yeah, as soon as these worms die, they fucking explode. They get covered with a sheet of ice and explode. Showering shards of ice and bone and scales everywhere with incredible force. As they both erupt, the hallway before you is now empty, but the walls around you have been assailed with these two explosions, and a horrible green liquid starts to ooze out, very quickly starting to flood the tunnel you're in. And the Stricken says, "I think we may have given her indigestion. We should haul ass. This is going to be bad."
I confidently yank a lever to drive us forward.
Yeah, you haul on a lever, and your mech lurches forward as you skitter down the gullet of this brood mother. You can see, the green goop that is leaching from the walls is digestive acid. It starts as a trickle and then a steady flow from all of the damaged tissue and starts to just flood the tunnel you're in, quickly raising to like 5 feet deep as you scrabble forward.
For as long as we can still see it, Hector keeps the illusory Sebastian and just has him like dramatically be like drowning in acid and giggles to himself.
Yeah, the Stricken gives you a side eye at that. But yeah, the Stricken says, "I am not incredibly knowledgeable on the anatomy of frostworms, but do they all explode when they die? 'Cause that won't bode well for us."
Do I know anything about that?
If anyone wants to roll an Arcana check.
Ooh, I've got that one.
Knowledge Arcana.
Would a bardic do anything for me?
Yeah, Bardic Knowledge, sure. The great shortcut to any knowledge check. Bardic Knowledge for sure. Let's roll it up and see what we get.
I got a 24 on my Arcana.
I got a
check.
20. I got a 25 on my bardic knowledge.
Jesus.
Fuck you, Hector. Fuck you.
Hector and Rilla, you both recall, based on the stories you've heard about frostworms, who are rare and exotic creatures that only occasionally show up in stories told by scholars, even at the Bard's College. These creatures, when they die, revert entirely to their elemental roots, and they explode upon their death in enormous, powerful blasts. The larger the frostworm, the more powerful and destructive the explosion.
Awesome.
Which does not bode well for you being inside of one.
Feel like it bodes better inside than out.
I don't know if it's better to be inside a grenade or outside of it, but I guess that's semantics. Cut to Zurabak.
Yep.
Zurabak, you are standing at the edge of this group of pines in the middle of this fucking blizzard sweeping through the Shatterbark Wood. And there's a titanic battle going on between Kesk the Wingless and this brood mother. The scrape of claws on metal, the cries of rage and frustration, this horrible trilling noise fill the air. You have stymied the advance of these two smaller frostworms coming to help out their mom. But they will not be held for long. What would you like to do?
Is Snake done being a bitch?
Snake is going to be stunned until you hit it and give another saving throw, or until the broodmother stops trilling. And she is not going to stop trilling.
And I hit Snake.
Fantastic. Give it a saving throw.
Sorry, well, Fortitude.
Will, actually.
Will. Even worse. Oh. He rolled an 18, so 22.
All right. After shaking your serpent companion.
Oh, no, I punch him right in the head. Just bow.
Yeah. After throwing a fucking haymaker at the tender skull of your snake companion, you shake it out of its stupor, and it is no longer stunned. It looks at you with its ophidian eyes and flicks its tongue in the frigid air, almost as if to say, "Sorry, boss." Your snake is no longer stunned. What else you got?
Was that my action?
I mean, you're not in initiative. None of these creatures know that you're there so far. You're hidden by trees in a blizzard, so you got a little room to maneuver here.
I want to cast Animal Growth on Snake. He grows twice the size of his normal size and 8 times the normal weight.
Oh my good golly gosh.
So he's huge normally. I assume that puts him somewhere in Colossal?
It just goes to the next largest. So he's, instead of huge, he's gargantuan.
Oh, I see. Next largest.
Yep.
I want him to be bigger.
He is bigger. He went. So you channel your druidic powers, and after just throwing a haymaker at your animal companion, you channel your druidic magic into Snake, and he embodies the strength and fury that is the brand of Zurabak, and he grows. His scales swell, his massive fanged maw hangs wide, and instead of a huge animal companion, which is 3 squares on a side, you now have a gargantuan animal companion, which is 20 feet across. Snake is now larger than the 2 frostworms you got laid up in the mud. It's not as big as Kesk, and it's not as big as the broodmother, but it's fucking enormous. It is just about just barely on their scale. Holy shit. What next?
Go get him, Snake.
Which are you? What? which M is
It
he
don't
getting?
matter. Whatever he feels like getting.
Okay, just go fight.
Yeah, go
Okay.
do things.
All right, you command your companion to go enter the fracas, and enter the fracas he does. Snake surges forward into the driving blizzard. His form quickly gets blurred by all the giant snowflakes and shards of ice. And yeah, pretty soon your animal companion is out there tearing it up with Kesk and the Frostworm. I'm going to say that he's going to go after the Broodmother first. Well, let me...
He gets 2 extra hit dice as well.
Nice. So yeah, your snake goes after the Broodmother, and yeah, go ahead and roll an attack roll for your giant snake. Oh, God.
So he gets a additional +8 size bonus to strength now.
Yep. God, it's just the worst. It's just the worst ever.
He's got damage reduction 10/magic now.
Wow.
And +4 bonus on resistance for resistance on saves.
What a spell.
I mean, it's a 5th level, yeah. Dice. Okay.
Yeah, animal growth is a spell you cast when you want your animal to just...
Grow?
Yeah, well, no, just to fuck shit up. There are spells to make things bigger, like Enlarge Person, and they don't give you damage reduction 10 and +4 on saving throws. This is... You just turned Snake into a kaiju.
19 +14.
That is...
A 33.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hit for sure. Absolutely devastating. Your massive animal companion, now even larger than he was before, surges forward through the blizzard and drives their enormous fangs into the metal-covered scales of this frost worm. They do make contact.
Do you want to roll a fort save that you're
Well,
probably going to get?
We got to see if you do damage.
Let's see. Oh, brain, no work.
This is just a phone call, Parker. You can make up a number. I'm not even in that room with you.
Shut
up. 25 points of damage.
Fuck yeah.
I should have made it harder on myself and prepared Magic Fang.
Yeah, you should have. Yeah, it gets a saving throw.
It beats the whopping 16 fortitude.
Your serpent's overwhelming musculature and incredibly powerful fangs do find purchase on this creature and drive with such force that it is able to do the slightest amount of damage. Nicely done. Holy shit. So now, not only is there this enormous metal-plated frostworm doing battle with Kesk, but now Snake, which is almost as large as the both of them, comes surging in and is grappling with them as well. Holy fuck. Cut to inside the Broodmother. Hektor, Ruger, and Rilla, you are in this mech. You are surging forward. The amount of acid in here is increasing. Thanks to the hardiness of your mech, it's not taking any damage from this shit, but it's getting to be like 6, 7, 8 feet deep as you slosh through what is essentially like a river of acid flowing through this beast. As you get a little farther on, you get into a wider chamber inside this creature, and you see that instead of this narrow tunnel that was its gullet, you're in something you think it's its stomach. So it's a much wider area, no longer this sort of just a tunnel, but there is a sloping mass of flesh leading into a giant pool of acid. There are giant animal bones sort of floating and bobbing around in it. There are bits of rock and ice that are bobbing around in it as well, like icebergs in a fucking ocean. On the other side of it, you see a very nasty ring of muscle that is opening and contracting at regular intervals. And this chamber is just filling with acid as you approach it.
Great. That's all great. Super
I
great.
mean, does that look like something we should tear up from the inside?
That looks about as good as anything else to tear up, so I'd say yes. Should I tear it up then?
It seems as good a place to start as any, though we'll have to be careful. This stomach is rapidly filling with acid. We'll be completely submerged. Let's not spend too terribly much time in there. If we spring a leak, it'll be catastrophic.
Yeah, that all sounds horrific. And then I yank a lever with confidence, one of the pincer levers, to start tearing into this thing.
Great. Cool. Are you tearing into that circular muscle I was talking about?
Yeah.
Great. So you wade forward into this giant stomach chamber. And your 6 legs ramble forward, and as you get into this enormous pool of acid, your legs are no longer touching any solid surface. You are now free floating in like a small lake of acid. You hit a lever that continues you onward. You are able to move forward and back, even in aquatic environs in this vehicle. And yeah, you move forward and just start ripping up this circular muscle that's expanding and contracting at the other end of the stomach. It is pretty largely submerged. Seems to be sort of trying to control how much acid is in this chamber. And as you make your way across to get to it and start ripping it up, the chamber gets more and more full until, you are entirely submerged in roiling stomach acid, tearing into the musculature. Why don't you go ahead and roll me some attack rolls as you snap the pincers shut.
23 on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And a critical 20 on the second one.
Nice.
Oh, my word. Oh, man. Why don't you roll to confirm that critical? Holy shit. Mech crits. You gotta love it.
Yeah, that's 26 to confirm.
Yes. 1 hit, 1 crit. Nicely done. Roll some damage, Firehide.
All right, so for the regular hit, that is 9 points of damage.
Mm-hmm.
And for the critical, that's a little better. So 13 times 2, 26. 26 points of damage for the second one.
Excellent. So you get to work just ripping through the muscle tissue at the back of the stomach. And you make pretty good progress. The giant, unforgiving metal pincers of your mech start making short work of this tender flesh. There are less of these metal veins going through this thing's stomach. And you start doing some work. But as you are tearing through this, the entire creature lurches violently to the side, as if some massive snake had joined a fight it was already having with the dragon, and the whole thing bucks and rolls, and you are sloshed around in this giant pool of acid, and one of these enormous chunks of sharp stone in its stomach comes barreling through and smashes right onto one of the portholes on the side of your craft. It cracks the glass, does not come all the way through, but as it bounces away from you, a thin crack starts allowing a small drip of green acid into your vessel. What do you all do?
I cast Mending.
Yes.
You son of a bitch! Do you have mending?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
I also
I
have
was just
mending.
about to ask Rilla to cast Mending. I forgot Hektor had it.
Yeah, I've had mending forever. Yeah, so it feels like Hector's just stealing my spotlight, and Rilla's getting more and more.
Oh my
pissed.
god.
Continue.
Hector and Rilla both rush to the cracked window, and at the same time, both cast mending.
I step on his foot intentionally.
Yeah, that's great. That's great
I
content.
don't react to that because I'm.
That's fine.
You both throw your hands up and you both cast mending, and yeah, this little crack seals in the window, and yeah, you are safe. Goddamn, good job, both of you. The Stricken looks back and says, "That was incredibly close. I'm glad the two of you were able to fix that. We need to get out of this stomach. The gods only know what lies beyond, but this is definitely a bad place to be. And we still don't know what's going to happen if we can kill this creature. I don't know how we're going to be able to escape the blast."
Well, this is kind of an awkward question, but do frostworms have buttholes?
They have stomachs, so the answer is yes. Obviously,
Well,
there's got to be a way for it to come out, right?
I'm looking at you two big brains in the back seat.
I'm just saying that, like, if it explodes, the worst part is going to be the shards of adamantine. And if we're inside it, those are going outward and we're not getting hit by them. So.
But we will get hit by the stomach acid and all of the exploded flesh and whatever the fuck else is in here. And then also the adamantine, because it's still there, right? And some of it's going to come our way.
Yeah, I think maybe we've wandered into a death trap.
I was saying, yes, that is what's happened. Zurabak will live on to not tell anybody anything about our tale.
But what if I just drive this thing out of the worm's butthole? And then I confidently yank a lever.
Yeah, you yank a lever and you...
Roll a d10 for that one. Come on. He doesn't...
He accidentally opens the...
fucking opens the bulkhead.
Technically, I rolled an 8, which means I just opened or closed the eyes.
Okay, that's great. So yeah, you you shed some light on this terrible green goop, and you see as you try to get your bearings and find out where that fucking aperture was to get you out of the stomach. Yeah, you do see a lot of wild shit floating around in all this thing. Stomach acid, like I said, a bunch of bones of long dead creatures, partly dissolved, a bunch of chunks of rock, and other inorganic material. And yeah, but through all that, you can see this circular grouping of muscles that you did just fuck right up. And there's almost like a small whirlpool now forming, pulling the acid in that direction. It is very easy for you to pull a lever and sort of drift into that whirlpool, and you are sucked out of this thing's stomach and into a chamber beyond.
I just realized that Sam misfrizzled us, and I feel bad that I just realized that. We're exploring the insides of a giant creature in our magical crab school bus.
Yeah.
So.
It's educational, you know?
And just like Miss Frizzle, there's no way you'll get out alive.
Wow. Dark.
So as you go through this now ruined sphincter, let's just call it what it is.
Yep.
You get into a chamber beyond, and you are in this thing's intestines. There is a very thin tunnel that slopes up and down and around as you continue forward. The tunnel is ridged, and as you move forward, this peristaltic motion kind of closes up this tunnel behind you and sort of sweeps you forward along this twisting course. It seems that this thing's intestines do not have very much of that metal, that adamantine, all through them, and it seems like this is a good place to do some fucking damage if you want.
I'd like to snap one of those pincers.
Hell yeah. Roll me a couple of attack rolls.
18. Kind of a low roll there.
18's good.
Okay. And 22.
Hell yeah. Roll damage.
So first one, that is 8 points of damage. And second one's 11, so 19 in total.
Excellent. So you go tearing through this thing's intestines. And there's this terrible, pushing action to these muscles that is sweeping you forward. You get the pincers of your crab mech slicing through the fleshy walls of its intestines, and you do enough damage that you actually make a sizable tear in the side of one of these intestinal tunnels, and with the motion of all of the detritus flushing out of the stomach, you actually are carried out of this tunnel altogether. You are swept out of the intestines and into this thing's abdomen, just kind of free floating. You find yourself in a sort of large, mostly empty chamber. There is an expanse of darkness around you, and these fleshy walls. These walls are completely devoid of any of these striations of metal, and seem pretty vulnerable. And as you sweep your eye stalks around the room to get an idea of where you are, your continual flame lights fall upon what looks at first like a giant pile of circular ice crystals. It looks like someone took a bunch of sort of vaguely ovoid chunks of ice and sort of piled them up against one wall of this large chamber you find yourself in. Except that some of them are twitching, and one or two of them start cracking, and you see mandibled heads start to slither up out of these icy eggs. Congratulations. You're in the egg chamber.
Gross.
Cool, I cast Fireball on them.
You are inside of a robot.
Ah!
So what?
I burned alive.
So you have to pop a door open.
I pop a door open.
Okay.
They're made of ice. This seems like a perfect thing for me to burn, yes?
Absolutely. So the Stricken is going to pop that door open, and the Stricken throws a lever, opening the porthole on the side of this mech, which swings open. And Rilla Long Shadow, you pop your head out and you throw a fireball at this clutch of icy eggs. Roll the damage.
Okay. So that is max 10d6. I'm caster level 11 at this point. So let me see. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 35 points of damage.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Your fireball arcs through the air and smashes into this clutch of eggs and immediately engulfs every single fucking one of them. They erupt in flames, and quickly those flames turn into popping as all of these creatures die and then explode, and you set off a chain reaction that blows you back into the craft whose door is open, and everyone needs to roll me reflex saving throws as a like a giant pile of C4 just erupts right next to the open door of your craft.
19.
I rolled my second critical one of the night.
Gee,
Oh my God,
dude.
25.
Damn! That's why Rilla doesn't give a shit.
Rilla is cackling.
Yeah.
I'm rolling really well. My reflex is not that high.
And mine is!
But like as she's thrown back, she's laughing.
All right. What did everyone get?
Garbage.
Ruger got garbage. Rilla got what?
Hang on, 25?
Okay.
17 plus 8.
Hector, what'd you get?
19.
Okay. Ruger and Hector, you're going to take full damage. Rilla, you're going to take half damage. And I'm going to have to go to Google to get all these dice. Excellent.
Disagree. Completely.
You're going to be fine.
I'm getting old. All right.
Yeah, you are.
Ruger's long in the tooth. Gray in the beard.
So as Rilla's eyes light up with devilish glee and she hurls this ball of arcane fire at this clutch of eggs, they pop one after another, each explosion firing off an explosion in the clutch of eggs next to it, and this entire chamber is just full with a claymore mine full of icicles, which erupts and blasts into you. Ruger and Hector, the door is open. You take full force. Each of you is going to take 59 points of damage.
Yeah.
As this explosion catches the side of your mech, throws it against the wall, and you eat this blast directly in your faces. Rilla,
Yeah.
you're going to take half that, which is 28. Nope, that's not.
What was the original number?
59.
So, yeah.
29 and a half, so 30.
29. Yeah. You take 29 points of damage.
Okay.
And yeah, your mech also takes 59 points of damage as well. So large and so powerful is this explosion that cut to exterior Zurabak, you are listening keenly to the enormous kaiju fight happening outside of the stand of trees you're sheltering behind, and as your snake is grappling with the brood mother and Kesk, you hear a rumbling and then a enormous blast just rip through. You can actually see, even through this blizzard, a puff of smoke and shrapnel kind of burst out of the side of this brood mother, and there is now like a 10-foot wide hole just in its side. The metallic skin bulges, and erupts outward, and there's now just a giant aperture in the side of this fucking frost worm. Zurabak, what do you do?
How dense are all the trees in the area? Like, what's their density? Like, how many are there?
There's a lot. There's like they're pretty big and pretty close together. What are you trying to do?
Make big exploding trees? What are you trying to do?
It should be noted that all of these creatures are fighting outside of the tree line. They're like 50 feet away from the tree line. So they're not in the trees. They're out on the tundra.
But if I make the trees bigger, wouldn't their explosion be bigger?
That is exactly right, Parker. Yes. What do you cast?
Well, I was going to do plant growth.
Is that how that works?
And that causes normal vegetation, grasses, briars, bushes, creepers, thistles, trees, vines, within long range, 400 feet plus 40 per castle level, become thick and overgrown, and the plants intertwine to form a thicket or a jungle that creatures must hack or force their way through. Drop speed by a lot, but since they're also explodey trees, I feel like they might explode.
Okay. That's fucking awesome. Yeah, so you cast you cast plant growth, and this dense stand of pine trees, all of these trees groan as they grow outward, their limbs intertwining, needles showering down as they twist and bulge and start to sort of rub up against each other. As they get larger, and this stand of trees becomes basically like a hedge. You are kind of in the middle of this shit. What are you doing? Where are you positioning yourself? Do you move out into the tundra where the monsters are fighting?
Oh, I move away. I move away. No, I don't move towards them. I move the opposite direction.
Okay, so you're making a big screen of exploding plants and you're moving farther away from the conflict.
Correct.
Okay. So I will say that the group of trees that you were kind of using to shield yourself from the blizzard and from this fight all get massive and start twining into each other until there's just like a wall of these groaning trunks that look like they are just about ready to completely detonate at the slightest provocation. There is now this wall of bombs, tree bombs between you and the monsters. You gonna leave it at that for now?
That sounds pretty awful.
All right, roll me an attack roll for Snake as it keeps struggling with the frost worm, the brood mother, who now has a giant hole in its side.
The first attack is 24. The second attack is 16 plus 16.
32.
Yep, those are both hits. Roll damage.
The first one is 26 points of damage. The second one is 20 points of damage.
Okay.
Nice.
The first attack, your snake is able to get a slight amount of flesh in between all of these metallic plates and scrape along it, doing a minimal amount of damage. The second attack, these adamantine scales completely rebuff your powerful animal companion's attempts to harm it. It takes a little bit of damage. You're going to roll that saving throw. What's the DC? 16?
16.
And I got it. So unfortunately it's not poison, but your snake is still in there doing its fucking thing. It is roiling around with these gigantic fucking monsters, and the chaos that this fight is throwing up is monumental. There's now basically like a small crater underneath these three creatures as they battle each other, throwing each other around and just smashing the earth, trampling it beneath them. And that is going to bring us to inside the creature. Hektor, Rilla, Ruger, you are all inside of your mech. You are all bloody and scarred from the ice bombs that just blew up directly in your faces. Your mech is on its side in this big chamber. And there is a fucking hole to the outside in the gut of this creature. Now you've breached the metallic skin of this great frostworm with that last stunt, and it is fucking chaos out there. It's sky ground. As you look out of it, this thing's moving around so much that it's just hard to make sense of what the fuck's going on out there. What do you all do?
I reach over to the lever that controls the hatch, and I close the hatch.
Boom! The hatch shuts securely.
Yeah, I pick myself up and shake the cobwebs out of my head. Because I've just gotten thrown around a bunch in this fucking mech. Yeah, I mean, we've got a big gaping escape hatch there. I'm a little concerned of piloting this crab thing directly into a kaiju fight. What do you guys think?
We want it out, so let's get out while we can, right?
Yeah?
Yeah, we made the whole... We should be not here because this is where Kesk will attack. So...
I confidently yank on a lever and begin piloting towards the hole in the side of the frostworm.
Every time you say you confidently yank on a lever, I picture you unnecessarily doing like a Captain Morgan pose on the front bench and just, ha-ha! As you heave on
I see
these...
like a jaunty turn of his face, like every time, like he's lifting his chin up or something. Yeah,
And it's definitely very dramatic. A lot of flair to yanking on the lever, you know? A lot of...
Yeah, you're swirling your duster as you pull these levers. It's great. And yeah, you confidently pilot your mech. You scrabble through the ruins of all these destroyed eggs, and you are able to find a moment where this giant hole in the side of the creature is looking at pure sky with this roaring blizzard, and you ably scrabble out the side of this creature. And yeah, it is fucking chaos. It is absolute madness out here. As you get out, you are almost flung out the side of this creature as its whole body is whipped to the side, and your mech goes flying 20 feet and then smashes sideways into the frozen earth, turning and skidding as it does, and you're all jostled around. But you are given a lovely view of Kesk and this brood mother tussling. And also you see fucking Snake, bigger than you've ever seen him, going toe-to-toe with these creatures as well. And as you're looking, Kesk sees the aperture you just came out of. He blinks at it and then looks at you, and then a horrific grin graces the maw of this ancient green dragon. And as Snake, Zurabak's companion, larger than life, coils around the broodmother, pinning it for a moment, Kesk scrabbles forward and with his powerful claws plunges into this thing's side, ripping open the hole you've made. He shoves his massive toothed maw over this aperture you've created, and he exhales into this worm a horrific gout of acid. His breath weapon pouring into the vulnerable innards of this frost worm, which writhes and trills this horrible shrieking sound as it bucks and tries to get free. This thing thrashes, smashing the ground all around you, and lets out this enormous gout of ice breath, which sprays towards the heavens as Kesk holds his face over the hole, and finally that ice breath turns into bubbling green fluid as acid just spills out of its mouth, and the creature finally, mercifully, with Kesk on top of it, goes still.
That is the most vile, horrifying, disgusting thing I've ever seen. Wow.
And then the frostworm's body starts to glaze over with a thick layer of ice, which crackles and shines in the Arctic, the small bits of Arctic sunlight coming through this blizzard.
I cast Cure Moderate Wounds on Ruger.
I yank a lever to start running away from this explosion of the crab.
How many? Roll them health points, Hector.
I heal you for 15.
Whew. Thank you.
Ruger, you yank a lever and just race forward as fast as you fucking can away from this thing. And as Hector the Gatekeeper channels some healing magic into the side of Ruger Firehide, this creature completely covers over with frost and then detonates. This horrific blast of ice and bone and shards of silvery metal fly out in every direction with such force and ferocity that your mech is just swept up off of its feet. Everything within 100 feet of this creature takes 108 points of damage, including your mech.
Hold on, doing some math. We got hold on. Mathing.
Don't forget the hardness. Don't forget to carry the hardness.
Fuck. What is 7 plus 30? We have 43 health left in the mech.
Yay!
So yeah, your mech is picked up and just thrown like a toy across the tundra, flying even farther. It smashes to the ground as a crater forms from the immensity of this blast. Now, Snake takes that to the face. Zurabak is Snake.
Yeah, he's fine.
How many health points does he have left?
Left, like 10 or so.
Okay,
I didn't do
10
the
or
exact
so?
math, but yeah, 10 or so. He got 2 additional hit dice from that.
okay.
And like plus 4 constitution.
We've played this rodeo. When he gets small,
Yeah,
is he gonna die?
we know this game. Until he gets small again, he's fine.
Tune in next time for Snake's funeral.
So yeah, all of my blessed protagonists inside this mech are gonna have to roll me one more reflex save as your robot is tossed, and the 40 health points left are just lost as you hit the goddamn ground. Your mech breaks open as it smashes into the tundra and spills you all out. Everyone needs to roll me some reflex saving throws.
So I got a 26.
Finally.
Critical!
Ha!
Nice.
22.
Okay. So you're all going to take half damage
Okay.
from this enormous fall. And, okay, so yeah, so you all take 20 points of damage as your mech smashes into the tundra like 30 feet away from this explosion. Its carapace splits open, its barrel-shaped body tumbling you all out onto the ground. Snake.
Is that 20 points that we take, or is that...
You all, yeah, it did 40. You all take 20 points of damage.
Okay.
Snake, who took this blast to the face, is like beyond bloodied. Like half of his body is like shorn away. He's bleeding all down his majestic length as his scales are like stripped from him. His jaw's hanging half open. He's barely hanging on. And Kesk stands a little scarred, but not that wounded. And he turns his head to the sky and roars a powerful roar of victory. I told you! I am Kesk! And this thunderous roar, and he lowers his head back down and scans around the tundra, and the blizzard moves past you all for just a moment, and in the small gap in the driving snow, his gleaming yellow eyes fall upon Rilla, Ruger, and Hektor, and that is where we'll end. Hello and welcome to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast, where we take a deep dive into our player characters' motivations, characterizations, frustrations, and try to get a better understanding of them as people. In this part of our show, we like to ask one of our protagonists a question and see if we can't unearth some deeper truth about them. Today in the studio, we've got the lawman Ruger Firehide, Knight Scrivener of the Order of the Quill. Ruger, how are you?
Oh, I'm Peachy Host, and yourself?
I'm doing quite well. This new format's working out just fine for me. No catastrophic disasters, no reality resets. It's going pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta say, I do miss my friends, though. It was fun with, the shenanigans around here.
Well, I'm sure that given the precocious nature of all of you protagonists, there will be unforeseen shenanigans that I could not even begin to build a defense against. But until that happens, it's just you and me and Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
Sharon, Ruger says hi. Sharon? Okay, Sharon says hi back. So, Firehide, I'm glad I have you in the studio today. I have a burning question that I just need to know the answer to.
Is that what you did there?
In Giant's Rest, when you were fighting Varric's Hand of the Void, when you were trying to grapple with the unspeakable calamity of the Void Spike that he summoned in the middle of Hektor's home, the Stricken was trying desperately to undo this hole in reality. And the Stricken asked you to have faith in him. The Stricken asked you, a paladin, a warrior of the gods, a crusader on a righteous path, to have faith in him. And I'm curious, when you decided you were willing to worship an evil deity.
Well, worship is a strong word. Deity is also a strong word. I will say that ever since I truly first heard the calling, I started to believe, and the further we've gotten into our quest, the more I've come to believe that for whatever divine purpose Narrativa has deigned it to be, I genuinely do believe that she has chosen Anthony Geist to be her vessel to fix this whole mess. And I believe she chose him, and he chose us. And now we're doing our divine purpose to fix what he first broke.
And that's the same divine purpose that led from you being a freewheeling lawman out on the road doing your own thing to becoming a bit of a joiner, I'd say. The group of protagonists, the Church of Protos, the Order of the Quill, and now the Stricken himself. I'm just curious, do you think faith is valuable if it's so easily given?
I do. As a matter of fact, I believe, I think while you may view these as separate commitments, I view them as one. It's the greater good, it's the greater calling that's being expressed in each of those endeavors. So, you may view it as I've spread myself thin in the way that I dedicate myself, but to you I would say, on quite the contrary, I am singularly dedicated in my purpose, fixing the wrong in the world.
Well, I suppose having upwards of 3 bosses is certainly good for knowing exactly where you stand. I guess I'm just curious, if someone else comes along asking for you to join them, how easy that's going to be for you to do. Are there any other clubs you're planning on signing on with? Any other deities you plan on doing the work of on the mortal plane, or are you maxed out currently?
At this point, I think I've got my hands full. But who's to say, host? I'm curious, though. Have I offended you, host? I'm getting an air of antagonism.
Ruger, I am just the host of a little talk show trying to get some deeper insight into the flawed, tragic mortals that have decided to take it upon themselves to fix the entire world. I think that warrants some deeper investigation. That's all. But if you're reading that as, antagonism, then I guess I just have one thing to say. That's going to do it for us here on As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast. Sharon and I want to thank you for joining us here in our little show. And until next time, keep those dice turning. Sharon, we're definitely getting them. Hey there, dear listener. Sam the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Challenge Rating 0 was edited by the incomparable Audius Prime, a.k.a. Matt Sims. You can find more of his work at audiusprime.com. Music for Challenge Rating 0, including our amazing theme song, is provided by the harp wolf Danielle Williams. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com, including her album Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change. Additional music for Challenge Rating 0 is provided by Justin Ra. You can find more of his work at justinra.com, including his album Age of the Spirit. If you want to find us on social media, we are on Facebook and Instagram at Challenge Rating 0. We're at Twitter at Challenge_0. And if you'd like to email us here at the show and send in any questions for As the Dice Turn segment, you can send any emails to challengeratingzero@gmail.com. Any questions we receive will be read on air. If you'd like to support the show, we are on Patreon, patreon.com/CR_ZERO. We've got some bonus content on there for you folks if you are interested. And if you can't support us fungibly, we ask only that maybe you take some time to give us a review, recommend us to a friend, all that good stuff. Thank you so much for listening. We're still trying to make the best show we can for you folks. And we're going to keep on keeping on. I hope you all take care of yourselves and each other out there. We'll see you next time.